Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to wherever you are watching in the world. And we are back for another week of Rush Racing North America and EU. I am your host today, as always, for North America, Gamehawk. Today, I am actually alone for today. Antonelli wasn't able to make it for today to commentate, as well as Chaz wasn't able to make it as well, but that's okay. We can still have fun as we are here in Spain for the Spanish Grand Prix. And man, I'm really interested to see how this race is going to go. I think I was pleasantly surprised when it came to Austria, because kind of like some of the other races we've had this year, Austria was another kind of one of those really fast short tracks where you could definitely see something happening or crashes happening. And through all of Div1, we did not have a single, we did not have a single safety car that went through Div1, and I was honestly shocked by that. I was honestly very much expecting that we were going to see a ton of safety cars, and we just didn't. The Division 2 was actually very, very clean, very good racing, and I really hope to see that continue here in Spain. In Spain is a little bit different than Austria. In Austria, you want to maximize your speed because of how short the track is and the longer straights. But here in Spain, you got to focus maybe a little bit more on the slower parts, on making sure that you're set up. And I mean, I feel like for this, I don't want to call him out, but Illyrian said last week that he didn't have the right setup, and I don't know if any of the drivers are still in the pits and watching the stream, but always remember to make sure that you put on the right setup before you guys go out to qualifying. But a lot of Spain, you have the really long straight here in on the front stretch, but beyond that, you have to focus a lot more on how much downforce that you're getting here, because a lot of this track is very kind of long swinging turns where you can still put your foot down on the gas, but you're gonna need more downforce to be able to do it. And I think Spain is an interesting track. I enjoy racing at Spain a lot. I still am trying to learn necessarily how to do well still. I mean, let's just say there's a reason that I'm a commentator and that I'm not racing alongside these guys, that I'm just not as consistent as they are. But all in all, I'm still very curious to see how this is going to go. I'm curious to see if we're going to see a continuation of Austria and see if these drivers are going to get better. Salty is actually going to put it in the very first lap on Inters. See, he's just going to get the Inters lap out of the way. And as we can see, a lot of the grid is already out. We still got at least over 13 minutes here for these drivers to set their lap. So we still got plenty of time to see how these drivers are going to go. And actually, you can see already there in qualifying, the drivers peeling out of the way. And actually, that might help Wildcat running the tires right now on the mediums. We can see maybe if he's going to try and go all the way. He is running low on fuel, but we'll see if he's going to end up continuing to improve on that lap. And actually going through, talking about Austria, I'm curious to see now that after Austria, we could look back and see the final standing, or not the final standings, but the current standings for both the Drivers' Championship and the Constructors' Championship. And actually right now, here in the Drivers' Championship, after Austria, Meraki Dawn actually did win that race, and now he is the current leader in the Drivers' Championship by only 3 points. Marakidan leads with 103 points. Alizzi is in second with 100 points. Illyrian in third place with 89. Money in fourth with 86 points. And then Vide in fifth place with 62 points. So Vide actually wasn't in Austria, so he wasn't able to claim any he wasn't able to get any points. And actually today, Marakidan actually isn't in the field. This other Red Bull is actually a new driver, Vega, that has not raced here so far today, or this season, I should say. And I'm kind of curious to see how he's going to fill in for Marakidan and see how he races. And we are doing a full qualifying, I should specify. And actually, we already have a collision. I don't see anything. Oh no, there is damage to Joshua Bear's Ferrari, but I don't see Wildcat. Oh, Wildcat's way behind. So maybe there was some contact there. So maybe already a bit of work for the stewards, as Joshua Bear has a 5-place grid penalty for a severe collision with Wildcat. So maybe already Spain not looking as clean as Austria was. And actually today as well, Money is also not here. And I think that for anyone, I think that this is probably the best opportunity for the two Haas drivers, Illyrian and Alizzi, and for Vide. Vide originally didn't start off the season super hot, but then he got better, and then last race he just wasn't able to be here. So he's been getting back into the groove, and a race win today would absolutely put him back into the mix. As we are halfway through the season, we are here at round 7, and we have a total of 12 weeks. So the championship is by far definitely not decided. And I really do think that it is going to be a race to the finish to see who is going to end up claiming the trophy. And I don't know. I'm really curious to see how it's going. And yes, it is a full qualifying that right now this is currently Q1, as we have a total of 17 drivers. So P17 and P16 will be the only eliminated drivers, and then we'll head on to Q2, and then P11 through P15 will be eliminated, and then we'll head to the Q3 final shootout, and then we have 33 laps of Spain, and we'll see how it all goes, because we saw 36 laps of Austria, and it went by pretty quick because we didn't see any safety cars. But if Q1 is any indication, I could definitely picture that we are going to see some safety cars, and some of these drivers are already getting a bit scrappy going through. And now Vega is actually going to go ahead and retire with a 1:18.3, and they did put that lap in. So I'm curious to see what these other drivers will do. And actually Project will go ahead and put in the fastest lap so far for Q1 at a 1:12.099. And actually talking about Project's actually in 6th place behind his teammate Vide with 57 points. So realistically for Project, we are closing down on the season to see who is going to be the championship winner, but there is still a little bit of time. And I think we've seen from other races that a race win can really do you wonders in the championship and in gaining points. I mean, Marakidan, if you go back to before Austria, if you go to after the Baku sprint race, Marakidan was 3rd. And he was behind both Alizzi and Illyrian, and you can see that just by winning that race, he was able to retake the lead. So it is very, very close, and really for that top 5, you can't count any of them out yet. And actually talking about the standings, talking about teammates and such, I actually did look up what the current constructor standings are, and actually Haas right now has the biggest gap where they lead the Constructors Championship by 189 points. And then second place is Red Bull with 133 points. Third place is Racing Bulls with 122 points. And then fourth place is Alpine with 119 points. So having both Alizzi and Illyrian on the Haas team has really benefited them. I think not only in the constructors, but I do think that it has benefited them in the drivers championship, because it provides a little bit more competition. And I mean, you can definitely say that they have been way more than just normal competitive. I mean, they've done really well so far this season, and I can imagine that both of them are going to absolutely be trying to do their best and get that championship, because really between them and then Meraki Dawn, they're really what you call the top contenders, where you do have Vide and you do have Project where they're not out of it. But really, Alizzi, Illyrian, and Meraki Dawn are those top three contenders to win the championship. So it's going to be intriguing to see how the rest of the season is going to go, as we are more than halfway through the season now. And so far, both Alpines here are on top with 6 minutes and counting here in Q1. Both Alpines on top, and we'll see so far that right now, you can see kind of a little bit of a split. That you can see that a majority of the top times are in that 1 minute 12, 1 minute 13 range. And I think that you could say some of these other times below, like from P10 and below, I believe that they ran their first laps on intermediates. So I don't think that that is a reflective time necessarily. And actually it's going to get even worse, as Low Pro actually jumped up into fifth. So actually Vega retired after their first lap, and now they are down into P16, and they're actually going to be out in Q1. And now with Alizzi being the last driver to set a lap, as right now he's still in his out lap going through sector 1, and he's going to be the last driver to set a lap time. And I can imagine that a lot of these other drivers, yeah, now you can see that a lot of these other drivers who had set that original lap are now going out to try and set a faster lap. And Joshua Bear will retire from the from Q1 in the pits, believing that his time is good enough. I do believe he should. You can see the Mercedes slowing down and giving way to the other drivers. And I am curious to see if these other drivers will as well, like the two Alpines and others. But we'll see, as now Mingo on board with Alizzi to watch this Q1 lap. And we'll see if he's going to be able to get out of Q1. You see he's doing really good so far through sector 1, and I think you can really see what I was talking about earlier, where you don't want too much downforce, but definitely around Spain, you want more downforce than maybe usual. And you can see a little bit of a slide there, but a good catch. As now he's heading through sector 2. And I think, actually, in my opinion, I think that that might be one of those, in that area in sector 2, right before the second DRS zone, might be one of the toughest, in my opinion. I can definitely say that I've seen so many drivers spin out there, so I'm curious to see how the rest of the grid will handle it. And actually, Tupini actually went and set the fastest lap with a 1 minute 11. So now we'll see where Illyrian is going to place, and he's going to put in a 112.8, which will put him actually right behind his teammate in P7. So now we will swing to some of these other drivers, and now Thomas coming through sector 3. Right now he's in P14, maybe a little bit on the cusp And we'll see if he's going to be able to improve. He does, and now he's up into P7, actually splits the Haas crew with a 1 minute 12.683 of his own. Salty actually will be the next one to start his lap. Right now, he is in the drop zone, and with time winding down, this will be more than likely his last best opportunity to get out of the drop zone, as Pool Diver ahead of him as well is on their outlap as well. You can see that Freed, the other Ferrari, will go ahead and retire. They're more than likely in the safe zone, unable to get knocked down further. And now we'll see, so far Salty on that fresh set of softs is very much improved versus that first basically test lap going on the intermediates. So I'm curious to see where he will place, because if him and Pool Diver both get good times, we could see even Tinzo get knocked down into the drop zone. And actually, so now I'm curious to see, so now Salty coming to the line. So Salty with a 1 minute 13.1 will get himself into P12. And now it comes down to Pool Diver, which Pool Diver, this will definitely be his last chance to improve. And actually, Tinzo in the chat said that he did spin, so he is not going to be able to get another lap in. So now it comes down to whether or not Pool Diver can get a faster lap time than Tinzo. We'll see here coming out of sector 2. He is 2 seconds faster than his original time on the intermediates, but that's still, that might be close. But now there's only one way to know, as he's coming through sector 3, as now he's coming back down onto the front stretch. It might be close, as now he's going to go to the line, and he is up into 11th. He was able to find it in the third sector. So Pool Diver moves up into P11, and that will mean that Tinzo and Vega will be knocked out in Q1, and that will send the rest of the grid through. And oh, the Racing Bull of Grecos had a big moment. Actually, that was a great save, but that will basically abort his lap, and he's gonna go ahead and bring it home. And you can see, probably for some of these other drivers, they're probably happy that they went ahead and got their laps out of the way. I am actually kind of surprised that some of the other drivers on the top part didn't retire immediately. Usually we see that in other races that we've seen this year, but we haven't seen it today. And actually, you can see the top 5 is Tupini in the Williams, Project in the Alpine, Vide in the Alpine, Legleb in the McLaren, and then Enzo in the Mercedes. And actually, Legleb, they did really well in qualifying in Austria, but then when it came to the race, he just kind of lost that pace. So he ended up losing kind of that pace. And I am trying to remember, I can double check and make sure that I get my facts correct, as we'll see the final results here for Div 1. As yeah, Legleb actually finished P12 in that last race in Austria, even though he qualified very well. So probably looking for a bounce back race. So we'll see how Legleb performs, as that is going to be the end of Q1. And as we said before, that the only 2 eliminated drivers are Vega and Tinzo. So we'll see how Q2 will go, as P15 through P11 will be the next eliminated set of drivers. So kind of curious to see. So far, it looks like the grid is relatively close in the 1 minute 12 or like 1 minute 13-ish range. So, I mean, I'm curious to see how it's going to carry over into Q2. The clouds did look a little ominous. I mean, there is definitely, you could say, a risk we could see rain here, and actually the clouds look even more ominous than they did in Q1. I could definitely imagine that a lot of these drivers are going to try and get their laps going as quick as possible, because the last thing that you want to happen is for it to start raining and then immediately it starts raining and you didn't get that lap time to go out on the soft. So I guess we'll see if rain is going to be a factor for this, and we'll see how many of these drivers may choose to go maybe a little bit early, but it's kind of all of a toss-up. It's kind of a big question mark to see what the drivers will choose to do. And we actually do see a car go out, and I believe that's that is the Red Bull of Wildcat. And Wildcat is actually going to be the first driver, and actually one of the Mercedes will follow him anyway. And now you can see now one of the Ferraris is following, so you can see that the drivers have started to follow. So maybe there is rain on the forecast, but we will have to find out as qualifying progresses. Yeah, and actually now you can see that a majority of the grid are actually out on their outlaps. Wildcat was the first driver to go on the outlap, so he's actually going to be the first one to start a lap, and we'll see necessarily if this is his chance to maybe set the tone, see what the best time that he can set before the rest of the grid comes through and it becomes clogged with traffic. And I actually am curious. It does look a little bit brighter before it did on the screen, like when the server first started. So maybe it's not, maybe it is not on the table for rain yet, but I definitely don't think that you can count it out. I mean, can you blame me? The clouds look very ominous. So, I mean, I was kind of shocked actually more in Austria that we got a little bit of rain in the short qualifying. So actually it kind of just ended it early because everyone went out and did their quali laps early, and then they didn't go out again since it started raining. I don't necessarily think that that is going to happen here, but I guess at the same time, you can't necessarily discount it. And Wildcat actually will go ahead and set the fastest lap, or the first lap with a 1:13. Enzo actually will be behind him with a 1:13.58 or 5:00. Or sorry, it is Saturday. I've had a very long week, and I apologize if I misread things. Vide actually will set the actual fastest lap, as now everyone is starting to go through, as Vide has it with a 1:12.047, Illyrian with a 1:12.453, and now that Vide's teammate with a 1:12.485. And actually I feel like if anyone is a threat to this, is this guy, Tupini, with a 1:11.865. I mean, Spain just might be his track. I mean, he's been a very good competitor so far this season, but I definitely don't think he's been as dominant in qualifying quite like this. I mean, that is back-to-back quali laps that he has set that has been way faster than the grid, most of the grid. So, I mean, we can see if what he chooses to do, because that is a great lap by him. As you can see, most of the other grid is still in the 1:12 range. Oh, and actually you can see Pool Diver dove out of the way of Salty, who was trying to set his first lap, and actually that was a good job by Pool Diver to just get out of the way and let Salty go through. As Salty is going through sector 3, we'll see what he sets. And it looks like it is a 113.095, so actually will improve him up into P7. So that is actually a good lap for the Kick Sauber. And next up, you can see that Freed in the Ferrari will set his time with a 1 minute 13.388. That will put him into P10, but that's going to be right on the edge of elimination. And now Alizzi as well on his outlap low pro will make his way through sector 3, and that's going to put him up into P7 with a 1 minute 12.956. So just like that, I said that when talking about Freed's lap. So now Freed will fall into the drop zone, as now he is P11. And actually, maybe that was a weird angle. I thought I saw a few droplets of rain, but maybe not. And actually, you can see that the clouds are a little ominous, but you can see the track is bone dry. And actually, I can see in the chat that Illyrian says that this is Tupini's home race or home track, and that we ain't beating him. Well, I mean, so far in qualifying, he has absolutely shown that, I mean, he treats this like this is his home, that he has absolutely been the fastest guy on the grid so far. But I do agree with Vide that you never know before you know. And I mean, some of these other tracks, actually, Alizzi will go up into P3 right ahead of his teammate, Illyrian. And I mean, I kind of agree with Vide. I mean, we've seen so many things happen. And I feel like, well, I keep mentioning this every time we have a race, but I mean, I think Canada is the perfect example of that. We were all expecting other people to win the race. I think the entire race, we never had one driver that we completely thought was going to win. And then even when we get to the last corner, when we like pinpoint, we're like, this guy is for sure winning, he gets a penalty on the last corner, and the guy in second place ends up winning the race like completely out of nowhere. So I definitely agree. I think that we have absolutely seen the craziest stuff happen, and actually that was a very impressive save by the Gleb. And actually, I'm not gonna lie, someone should clip that, because that was actually a very impressive save by him. And he keeps his lap going. That does kind of make him abort the lap. Well, he's probably gonna still set one, but we'll see if he's gonna choose to pit, or yeah, he's gonna just go ahead and choose to pit. Make sure that everything is working. So far everyone has set lap times. The Gleb is the only one that has not set a lap time. So we'll see how the rest of the grid will respond, as actually Pool Diver with a great lap is going to put him up into P6 with a 1 minute 12.629. So a great lap there from Pool Diver to get himself out of the drop zone. And we'll see how these drivers in the drop zone will respond. That right now in the drop zone, you have Grecos in P11, Wildcat in P12, Freed in P13, Enzo P14, and then Legleb in P15. And oh, a spin there for Thomas. And that will all but end that qualifying lap, that flying lap that he was setting. So his time will remain as is. I apologize that my mic was not working. I'm appreciative of chat for pointing that out. That was very impressive qualifying. I mean, talking about Enzo pulling it out at the last second to be able to knock out Pool Diver and improve, and actually are eliminated now. Pool Diver, Low Pro, Freed, Wildcat, and Grecos. So I mean, this is really setting up to be a very interesting Q3, because in all of the scrap that was happening trying to get out of the eliminated, Project actually set a sub 112 time that I believe that the time in Q3 or Q2 that Tupini set was a 111.6 or 0.5, and then Project set a 111.7. So yeah, I like this could be a very, very tight race. I'm curious to see if this trend will continue. We will continue to see how well these drivers will do. I mean, this could be a very, very close race. And I think not only just a close race, I think that you could even include this in the constructors, because I mean, for Haas, they, I would say, are the powerhouse of this season, with both of their drivers doing really well and getting all their points. This could be a chance for Alpine to improve their chances. I mean, if you look at the constructor standings, this is the Alpine's chance, because right now in this top 10 there is no Red Bull, there is no Racing Bulls, and there's only one Ferrari. So if you're Alpine, this is absolutely your best chance to improve, and not even just in constructors, improve in the drivers championship, which absolutely is still up in the air. And actually, you could also give credit to the other team that has both drivers in this, Salty and Thomas. They did the same thing, where they were able to provide those quality laps when it was needed. So I'm curious to see if that will continue into Q3, and actually Vide will be the first driver across the line to start their official time. So he will go ahead and set the bar, as it were. And I'm curious to see, because Vide, Project, and Tupini have shown that they've been the fastest drivers around this track here early in qualifying. So I'm curious to see if that trend will continue, or if we could see Illyrian and Olizzi end up putting up a faster time ahead of them. Oh, and actually, I don't know if you could have gotten closer to a track limits violation there, and that would have ended the lap, but Vide was able to keep it there. And I mean, right now he is still on a very good pace, a little bit of a slide there, but he's able to save it, as now he's heading through sector 3. And right now, I mean, from watching some of his other laps, he does look like he is still sharing that exact same pace that he was before, and he will go ahead and set in a screaming lap of a 1 minute 11.769. Then Salty will set a 112.7. And I mean, talk about setting the bar. I don't know if you could really set a bar higher than that. I think that is like a direct challenge to Tupini to perform. And actually, you can see coming to a couple of the other drivers, Thomas will set a 112.274, be up into P2. Enzo with a 112.555 will be in P3 for the time being. Oh, and actually a little bit of a lockup there for Illyrian, as he wanted to go around the Kick Sauber. You will see actually Legleb will actually set in a great lap as well. He will set a 1 minute 12.157. Joshua Bear with a 112.358 up into P4. And I mean, I think really everyone wants to see what the Haas drivers are going to do. They are kind of the catalyst, as it were, because they are the ones that you want to watch out for if they are doing really well and if they can challenge the two Alpines. So actually Illyrian does abandon his lap. He chooses not to go for it. Lizzie will actually go ahead and set a 111.8 and go up into P2. So only a 10th, only a 10th off of Vide. But now it comes down to the hometown track hero, and I'm very curious to see what kind of a lap that Tupini is going to throw down here. So far, he's led and had the fastest lap in both Q1 and in Q2. So this is really another opportunity to basically show them who's boss. And I mean, we will be able to see if he sets, what kind of sectors he sets, if he sets purple sectors or such. As now he's going to head out of sector 1, and he does set a purple sector 1. So already off to a great start. And actually, Vide is behind him. Vide immediately going on the outlap behind Tupini. And Tupini is already on a great start. And maybe, I think that shows how good he is. I think I've seen a lot of other drivers go through that. He does set a purple sector 2. One more sector to go. I've seen so many drivers in that sector 2 lose it going around that corner by getting too much curb. But that time he was able to hold it as he's going through sector 3, blasting to the end. And we will see, what does he set? And he sets the fastest lap, a 111.592. And the pendulum will swing back into Vide's court. And now it's down to Vide to re-answer, as right now he is the only other driver on a lap. Illyrian is on his current out lap, and actually he's about to start at his first lap now behind Vide. And this is Vide's chance to answer. He set the bar, Tupini raised it, and now let's see if maybe Vide can do it. And actually he sets a purple sector 1. By 200ths of a second, he sets purple sector 1. So you can see just how quick these drivers are. And I mean, this could really have such a massive effect. And that was a little close going around that turn, but he was able to hold it. As now this will be the clincher, and he sets a purple sector 2. 5/10, and he spins! He spins in sector 3, and that is going to ruin his lap. Oh my goodness. I mean, that's probably a little bit of frustration there, and I don't blame him. Absolutely, probably had the fastest lap on board, on track, and it was just not to be coming out of that. Now, Illyrian again. He goes for the time, but then he chooses to abandon. So now with 4 minutes left, every single driver is either in the pits, or I believe that was one driver that is now going out. I believe that was, I believe that is Legleb. Yeah, that is Legleb, who is now currently on his outlap, and he is now the only one that is currently on track. He still set a good time. He's in P4 right now. One thing I'm kind of surprised about, Project hasn't set a time yet, and I'm kind of shocked by that, because he was the only other driver in Q2 to set a sub 112 time. So I'm kind of curious to see if he's gonna end up setting a time, or maybe he's not. But I mean, we'll have to see how it all balances out. Enzo in the Mercedes will go ahead and be on an out lap as well, as then we only have 2 drivers on track as we are about to hit the 2.5 minute mark. And actually, no, there is a Kick Sauber leaving the pits. I don't know which one that is. We'll see. It's actually Thomas in P5 as Legleb will start his lap. And now you can see kind of the exodus starting as we near just about 2 minutes, the exodus of cars leaving, but still no Project and still no Illyrian. So neither one have set a time yet. And so far it doesn't look like, maybe they're just not interested. Maybe they want to start P9 and P10. I mean, I'm not the one to judge them for that, but I'm still interested to see. And I think that now we see Illyrian does leave. So both Illyrian and Alizzi are on track now, leaving only Project as the last driver to not set a lap that's at least going on track. So Legleb will be the first driver out of this group to set his lap, and we'll see coming to the line if he improves, and he does into P4, 2/10 faster than his last time, and that will put him up into P4, another 1:11 time. A great job from Gleb to improve on his lap time. I'm curious to see how these other drivers are going to respond. And like I said, I'm just still, and actually now we see him confirmed. We can confirm that Project is on track, maybe taking a little bit of a dirt rally exit or shortcut, but can confirm that Project is on track and that his car is working. Tupini is on track as well, starting his lap. And honestly, I would be absolutely shocked if Tupini is going to be able to improve on his own time. Vide is also on his outlap, but actually, with the time winding down, Illyrian will go ahead and start his lap time. I believe that Project will reach, and actually is going to be very close to Vide. Vide gets across the line. He will set it. And now we'll see as Tupini's coming across the line. Thomas will improve, but he's still in P5. And that will finish the race. And actually, Project didn't make it. So Project didn't make it. Tupini didn't improve on his time, but he does finish still in with the provisional pole. Project didn't have time to finish his lap. Vide has an invalidated lap, so it won't matter. Alizzi will improve on his time and secure his spot in P3. Joshua Bear in P5. Thomas did set his lap time, so he is still in P6. Enzo is still on his lap. He still has a chance to improve, as Salty will not. He is still on he's on an invalidated lap, so he will go ahead into the pits, and it's an invalidated lap for Enzo on the last turn, and now it comes down to Illyrian. Does he have it? And he doesn't. A 1:11.889 will put him in P5, and that will go ahead, and that will do it here in Spain for qualifying, as Tupini, the home track hero, will secure it. And I mean, you gotta feel for Vide, that Vide by far he set a purple sector 1, set a purple sector 2, and then spun in sector 3. And I mean, that's just heartbreaking. He's still in P2, still a really good job. And I mean, if you're Project, you're probably also very frustrated that, like, I don't know necessarily what is all the ins and outs. I don't know necessarily why he didn't go sooner, but still at the same time, he was right there. I thought that he had made it. I thought that he had started his lap, but apparently the game said no, that his lap didn't go through. So now we have our grid set for the main race. As now here is your top 10 after an exciting Q3. Tupini with pole position, with Vide in P2, Alizzi P3, Gleb P4, Illyrian 5, Joshua Bear 6, Thomas 7th, Enzo 8th, Salty 9th, and Project 10th. So this is about to be a very interesting race. And I mean, we talked about it earlier in Q1. Qualifying pace doesn't always immediately translate to race pace. And I think so far through this season, we've seen that the most consistent drivers usually have the best race pace. And some of them have been Meraki Dawn, Vide. Project has also shown that he's had very good race pace. Alizzi, Illyrian. So I'm very curious to see how this is going to go. I think this might be the first time we've ever seen Tupini on the front row. So I'm curious to see how he's going to do now being at the front. And I mean, if for him, you want to win your home track race. I mean, that's the, I guess that is definitely something that you want to do. As we are going ahead and getting set up, all the drivers, making sure that their setups are correct, making sure that their strategies are correct. And I mean, the one thing about Spain, we didn't really talk about it in qualifying, but Spain likes to eat up your tires. And I mean, I think that's probably like the biggest complaint that I personally have, that Spain, it just eats up and chews and spits out your tires like it's nobody's business. It is really bad. And I can imagine that the hard compound is going to be probably the most important compound that we will see. I could imagine some drivers starting on the mediums and then going to the hards, but with a 33 lap race, I would be interested to see. I don't know if anyone would attempt the one stop. I don't know if anyone would try that. I do imagine that this would be a two-stop race. Maybe go from medium, hard, or maybe hard, medium. I mean, there are so many different combinations of what the drivers could do, and that could come in to be a factor where you could be the fastest driver, but if you have a Ferrari strategist, then you still might not win. So we will see. The drivers have been given the green light to go ahead and ready up. The engines are ready. The strategy's picked out. And this is now the start for round 7 here in Spain. As I mean, probably another race to go down in the history books. And now here we go with the drivers all set up, and we will be underway as the 5 lights are out, and we are underway here in Spain. It didn't look like Tupini got a really good start as they head down screaming toward turn 1, as now they are all, you can see, almost 3 wide. Tupini is going to be able to hold the lead for now. Going around the outside, it looks like their drivers are giving a little bit of space. So far, haven't seen any contact. Great driving from these drivers. As we look down the grid, you can see that there are so many drivers going side by side, as Tupini is going to be able to hold on to P1. Alizzi will actually go up into P2, and Project will already improve up into P6. So you can see he is already making moves. As you can see, I mean, very close quarters racing, but so far I haven't seen really any egregious bumping or rubbing. So far, great driving so far. You can see them coming down that second DRS zone, and you see that they've already settled into that single formation. Actually, Project will now improve. Joshua, you can see people now. We have a moment. Gleb falling down the order, and he is off track, maybe spinning out of sector. Spinning in sector 3. I don't see any damage on his McLaren. So yeah, I don't see any damage on his McLaren. But he spun, so he falls down in the last place, as that is 1 lap done here in Spain. And actually, we can go ahead and pull up the strategies now. That now we can see actually a lot of drivers that were out in Q2 and Q1 actually started on the soft tires. Maybe a little bit surprising there. I can imagine the tires are probably already cooking. There is a yellow flag, but I believe they got cleared up immediately. And actually, I will say also Vega in P9. Vega actually started in last place in P17, already up into P9, so a great job there. And I'm actually kind of surprised. I was in Austria. I think we saw a little bit more of an even split between the drivers who started on the hards versus those who started on the mediums. Today, it looks like the consensus was starting on the mediums. It looks like most of the drivers all wanted to start on the mediums. And Tupini is the only one in the top part of the order who started on the hard compound. I'm curious to see how that strategy will come to fruition. Is that actually now you can kind of see a gap beginning to form as Vega will actually move up another spot up into P8, and you can see kind of where that spot is between P7 and P8, where that main group of cars is, and they are kind of all still in a DRS train. And I'm curious to see what will happen, because all it takes is really one car to lose pace, and that could break up the DRS train. But I mean, realistically, it is going to be an uphill battle, and maybe making a move there from Vine. No, he thought about it, but he didn't go for it. But he is right on Lizzy's tail. And I mean, if you were Tupini, you want to win. And right now, he is driving like he wants to absolutely win this race. I think it's going to matter more. And actually, now both Alpines are side by side. And I think Vide went a little wide. And Project is actually going to move up into P3, starting in P10. Vide now up into P3. And actually, look at the position change right now. The biggest losers is actually Gleb, who fell down the order after that spin, as now he's in P16 after losing 12 positions. And actually, there's a caution now, and actually, I believe that's Tinzo. Yeah, Tinzo having another spin, but he will get going, so there's no safety car. And I mean, the biggest gainers as well. Look at Vega. Vega started in P17 and now up into P8, gaining 9 positions. Joshua Bear as well had that 5-place grid penalty, so he had to fall down the order, but now he's already climbed back up to where he qualified. So you can see that right now the qualifying is mirroring what we're seeing in the race for right now. And right now, it really kind of looks like the drivers are kind of settling into a groove. You can see just kind of that big group of cars right there that they're all kind of in that DRS train. I will say that over these first 5 laps, Supini is slowly chipping away at Alizzi, where Alizzi's been trying to hold on to that DRS zone. And I think the difference has just been that Tupini is definitely faster out of that sector 2, or in that sector 2 area. And I think that's mainly been the thing that has been able to kind of keep that gap back. And I don't know. I'm just very curious to see what is going to be the first event that's going to break this up. And so far, maybe a little bit more. Yeah, I mean, basically more of the same. And actually, there's another caution. I believe that's once again Tinzo. That Tinzo is just not having a great race so far. I mean, maybe the soft tires have already burnt out. And so far, no one has stopped yet. Actually, Leclerc will actually move up a place. Will go ahead and pass Wildcat. Is actually, I believe that they're basically side by side. You can see they are still battling back and forth. Both of these drivers on the soft compound. As they go ahead and continue to fight. The Gleb does have DRS here. Is he going to make the move? He's going to choose not to. And I mean, you can kind of see the gap beginning to form there as Tupini's actually slowly pulling away from Alizzi. And that is really going to leave Alizzi open up to attacks from the two Alpines. And I mean, you can see that Project, he's got some pace, and I'm really sad that we didn't get to see what his qualifying time would have been in that Q3, but you can see that he absolutely has pace. I mean, to go from P10 up into P3 and then be right behind Alizzi, it shows that he's got pace. And I mean, right there, I thought the camera angle kind of tricked me. It looked like he did like a dive bomb, but never mind, it was just a normal turn. You know, a little bit of a wobble and shake, and now another caution as Tinzo has spun again. He will get going. And he will go ahead. I believe he entered. No, he did not enter the pit. Or no, he does. Tinzo does enter the pit lane. And now, actually, now look at this. Well, actually, Tinzo will retire in the pit lane. But now Tupini has broken DRS range. So now it's down to Project. He's got DRS, he's got battery, and just like that, he's gonna soar around the outside, or sorry, the inside of Alizzi, and Project is gonna move up into P2. And I mean, I told you, that's all it takes. All it takes is one car to get out of DRS, and that can easily break up the DRS train. But now it's down to Project to defend. But now as well, Vide is probably already trying to chase down Alizzi, and I'm curious to see if Vide is going to have the pace. I mean, he showed in qualifying, and I think maybe a couple bad turns in sector 3 here early in the race maybe messed him up a little bit. And actually, you can already see that Alizzi is starting to lose a little bit of pace to Project. So I can imagine that the mediums are starting to wear, but definitely I don't think that it should be that big of a factor. But you can see that Vide is slowly right there behind Alizzi, and he will definitely have DRS, but Alizzi just barely got DRS as well. So he's going to remain probably ahead of Vide. You can see Vide is just going ahead and saving battery. And actually, look at this. Vega is actually right on the tail of Thomas. Vega fought their way back from the back of the grid all the way up into P8 and now trying to chase down P7. And I think Vega is another driver that would have been very interested to see what their qualifying time would have been. But it doesn't matter now, as they are trying to push on further and try to gain a few more positions. I mean, kind of curious to see Alizzi's still within DRS range, but Project is losing pace to Tupini, but he is holding on to P2. So far, this race has been a lot of the same with DRS trains galore, but this could end up changing depending on when these drivers on the medians will choose to pit. And now Alizzi thought about it. You can see that little bit of a shake, a wiggle, He totally thought about going for it, but he chose not to. And actually, Illyrian and Grecos will be the first drivers into the pits. Illyrian will go ahead and put on the hard compound. And actually, there's our first penalty, our first 3-second time penalty for track limits violations. And now going to the outside. Can Vide hold on? There was a little bit of a slide. They're still side by side, but Vide will go ahead of Alizzi. And now both Alpines will overtake the Haas of Alizzi. And now the big question is, now we see if these Alpines can start to try and catch up to Tupini and try and set some pace here. And I'm kind of curious to see how this strategy will go. Illyrian already pitting for the hard compound. And actually now we'll see the other Haas. We'll see Alizzi go ahead and pit as well. So both Haas drivers will be the first cars to pit. I don't know necessarily if Alizzi it will switch onto another medium or go on to the hard. Freed will go ahead and pit as well. And Alizzi actually will go ahead and put on the hard tires as well. So both Haas drivers started on the mediums and then went to the hard compound. So I'm curious to see how that is going to all pan out for all the drivers. And actually, this is going to be the thing. Joshua Bear is right around 8/10 behind Vide. So if Vide can break that DRS train from behind him, that could leave Bear open to Thomas and Vega's attacks. And you can see just several kind of small groups here. You have Tupini as the leader, and then Project leading this group. And then you see down the order that Pool Diver is kind of leading this other group with Salty and the two Mercedes of Lopro and Enzo. And it will just barely not be enough. So Joshua Bear will have DRS, and the DRS train will continue down the front stretch as we start lap 12. I do apologize for the little bits of silence. I am still recovering from being sick over this past week. But just like these drivers, I still want to put in the work. I still want to commentate for you guys, even if sometimes my throat doesn't want to agree. But so far, Tupini is still gaining ahead of Project. I mean, Tupini is absolutely showing why this is his home track. And actually, we'll see the first Alpine. We will see Vide go ahead and pit. Project will stay out. Yeah, the rest of that pack actually will stay out. But now, that actually will put Joshua Bear out of DRS range, away from Project. So this now could get interesting. Vide actually will go now. Alizzi will get a 3-second time penalty for track limits violations. So Vide also switches onto the hard compound. And now with Joshua Bear out of DRS range, I'm curious to see how this will affect. I mean, Vega, they've been chasing down Thomas pretty much since lap 5. And they've been trying and trying and trying, but they haven't been able to get the pass. And now maybe this will be able to help. As yeah, now you can see no DRS for Joshua Bear. You can see just how much that helps, as Thomas immediately closing down to half a second behind Joshua Bear. And you'll see the battery management. Yeah, he absolutely has the battery to be able to do it. So does Vega. Joshua Bear did save battery as well. And actually, no, Thomas will break off. So Thomas is going to go ahead into the pits. Project pits as well. So now Vega is actually have DRS chasing down, or Vega has DRS chasing down Joshua. Tupini still roughly 7 seconds ahead. So now that other group will move ahead. Pool Diver will move up into P4. Salty into P5, Illyrian P6, and actually now you have two. Oh, that was a little bit closer comfort. Both Alpines right there, Vide right behind a Lizzie. Project chasing down or coming out of the pits, trying to get up to speed. That could have been disastrous if Vide was a little bit slower. Project came out a little bit faster, but both Alpines will be out. I mean, I feel like this race has almost been Alpine versus Haas versus Tupini. Like, I feel like that's what this entire Spanish Grand Prix has been like. And so far now, with most of these drivers having all pit, Tupini will continue. And we will see Joshua Bear actually will go ahead and pit. So now Vega will improve up into P2 from last place into second place. Now will hold their position, and they are 8 seconds. They are 8 seconds behind Tupini, but they are roughly. Oh, and now Salty's gonna get a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Joshua Bear actually will switch onto the hard compound. And I was gonna say Vega is 12 seconds ahead of Pool Diver, and then Pool Diver is 1 second ahead of Illyrian. So I am curious. I mean, this is absolutely working in Tupini's favor, that he may have enough time to be able to pit and then just go ahead and go back out on track in second place, or maybe even back in the lead. And I don't know if this is, you can necessarily consider this a commentating curse, but once again, just like in Austria, so far no safety cars. And actually right now, so far, we've only had one retirement, which was Tenzo. But other than that, it's been remotely clean racing. And I mean, even in lap one, usually, once again, turn one is one of those tracks where turn one here is one of those tracks where you could absolutely expect a ton of contact or crashes. And actually, Vega will pit and put on the hard compound as the rest of the drivers will go ahead and pass. Illyrian will go up into P2 ahead of Pool Diver, is still 21 seconds behind Tupini. And we are nearing halfway through this race. Actually, Illyrian just set a purple sector 1. So maybe Illyrian has a little bit faster pace on those newer, semi-newer hards. And so far now, the only drivers who have not pit are Tupini and Pool Diver, I believe. Yeah, I can actually go ahead and check that. Yeah, they are so far the only drivers who have not stopped. And actually, realistically, if they want to, they could end up doing the one stop. I mean, so far, Pool Diver has lost a lot of time, and I think now you can even see with Tupini that he is starting to lose some time, where he's lost a second maybe here in the last sector. But beyond that, I mean, Pool Diver is still basically holding his own. He doesn't pit there. And I mean, the same thing with Tupini, as actually Illyrian will go ahead and set the fastest lap. And now we'll see here, is he going to make the move? Lizzie will make the move over Pool Diver. So now, and actually Salty will get a 3-second time penalty for track limits violation. So both Haas drivers in P2 and P3. And so far, still kind of no sign that says that Tupini will pit soon. There is a realistic chance he could try for the... Oh, and a little bit of contact as both Alpine drivers tried the double overtake. Pool Diver trying to hold on, but it's not going to be enough. I think he tried to avoid the one Alpine, and then he ended up wheel banging with the second one, but there is no damage to either car, so that is good to see. I could imagine that Pool Diver is going to pit now. I could imagine that he pits this lap, as we are now currently going through to lap number 19, or sorry, lap number 18. As I mean, you can see the gap on the mini map in the bottom right. You can see that lone blue dot is Tupini, and then second place is the gray dot right there. I mean, they're basically passing each other right there. And now more contact as Vide just kind of forces his way past Olizzy. There is no contact. Maybe Olizzy now trying to get that lead back, and they are side by side and a little bit. Oh, I don't know if you can make it much closer racing. Now going once again, and now more contact, more wheel banging. No damage from either one though, as they're still side by side, catching the grass a little bit. And Vide will hold on, and now it's slide, and he goes through. And that's going to put Olizzy right behind him. You can see all of them are right behind each other. So now is Project going to try and make a run? No, he's going to hold on to the battery. And now, but now is he going to make a move? Now he's going to find a move to the inside. Olizzy giving him the bare minimum amount of space. They're still going through. As Vide will go through, Tupini actually will pit. He's going to put on the mediums. There is a caution sector 2. I believe that's Wildcat, as Project will get around, but actually now he has DRS, so now he's trying to chase down his teammate, but it won't be enough. And actually Tupini gets out of the pits directly behind Illyrian with fresh mediums. So Tupini's strategy and pace are proving superior right now, as now he's choosing to try and chase down Illyrian, which Illyrian with those older hard tires are probably not going to be able to hold on for long. But both Alpines holding back Olizzy essentially. And I'm curious to see how the rest of this will go. And actually, surprisingly, Tupini did pit. Pool Diver did not. So Pool Diver has 18 lap old hard tires, and he has yet to pit so far in this race. Wildcat did enter the pit lane. Actually, as I say that now, and actually look at this, they'll go ahead and swap. That Project will move up into P3, Vide will fall to P4, and Pool Diver actually did pit, so he falls down into P11, but he will peel out with fresh medium tires. I'm curious to see if he will try and take those all the way to the end. You can see Tupini has already retaken the lead. And I think that's just a testament to how fast his race pace is here. And I mean, I will give him credit. I said before the race that definitely I would be interested to see how his race pace performs here versus the qualifying pace. And so far, Tupini has absolutely delivered. And I don't think you can really deny that. I mean, he's done his he's done his absolute best. And I mean, already in one lap, he pulled out a 2-second gap ahead of Illyrian, and there he sets the fastest lap with a 1:13.704. And I think the question is now you just gotta kind of watch out. And actually, look at this. There is Wildcat in the Red Bull that they are ghosted through, so they will not collide, but Wildcat is a lapped car. And you can see that they are still basically racing at full race pace. And I'm kind of curious to see, because actually you do get DRS off of lapped cars. So I am kind of curious if Project or Vide will try and take advantage of this if Wildcat is still there. Maybe they could end up trying to maybe put a little bit or reduce the gap between themselves and Illyrian, as we are about to enter into lap 22, which will put it at about 12 laps to go here. And I am kind of curious to see if Illyrian is going to pit. I can imagine that he will pit as Project actually is catching up. And actually, I think that, yeah, Vide did. I think Vide may have had DRS either way, but actually you did see that he did kind of use the slipstream of the ghosted car. And now Freed will get a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And actually, Freed will retire from the session in the pit lane. So, unfortunately, once again, another Ferrari retirement here in the Division 1 North American Series. And right now, actually, now you can see that Project has actually closed in to DRS range. So, he is catching up to Illyrian. So maybe this is the chance for both Alpine drivers to catch up to at least get higher positioning, not only for the teams, but also for the Drivers' Championship. I mean, both Alpine drivers, for the Alpine drivers in the team sense, they wanted to get as many points as you possibly could. And actually, Illyrian will go ahead and pit. So actually, that will give them a position. And Illyrian will go ahead and pit and get new tires. But I was going to say that not only for the team game, that both Project and Vide wanted to kind of get back into the constructors, especially considering that Red Bull and Racing Bulls, their top two competitors, are not really present. I mean, the highest Red Bull is right now P5, and then the other one is in P15, and there's only one Racing Bull here today, and they are in P14. So for the constructors' point of view, you have a chance to really score some major points. But then it's the same for the driver standings, where both Project and Vide, I don't think they've necessarily been satisfied with how the races have gone this year so far. And realistically, they may not win the race. Oh, and now that's going to make it a little bit more interesting. Tupini will get a 3-second time penalty. He does outrun the penalty. And actually, Alizzi will also pit now as well, leaving both Haas drivers there. But I am curious to see how that could affect the race, because realistically, if he gets 6 seconds, all of a sudden this is a much closer race. And I mean, you can't forget about your penalties. I mean, penalties absolutely can come back to bite you, and I'm curious to see how that will go here as we enter basically the latter third of this race. Actually, right here now as well, Joshua Bear is starting to chase down. Joshua Bear is starting to chase down Vega as well. Actually, he does have DRS, and you can see the movement he's making in those DRS zones to catch up. And maybe this is a chance for Joshua Bear to score more points, where I think he's also kind of had a rough season. And I mean, Joshua Bear not really having maybe the best season. He's shown that he's had pace, but maybe not entirely the season that he's wanted. A few collisions, definitely some penalties have hurt him. And I mean, once again, this season is barely halfway through. This is round 7 out of 12, and there are by far a lot of races still to go. And you really never know what can happen. And actually, just double checking the time, I will go ahead and let you guys know that in half an hour after this race, we will see Division 2 here at Spain as well. So if you guys want to stick around for after this race as well, I know a lot of the Division 1 drivers love to tune into the stream and watch the Division 2 race, and even some of them are coaches or team principals that they teach their drivers as well. So it's really, really cool to see all the interaction. And you guys can catch both me, Gamehawk, and my co-host Wildcat. Wildcat is currently in this race, hence why he's not commentating with me right now. But he will be there for the Division 2 stream as always, and we will be commenting the Division 2 race. And if you guys weren't here at the very beginning of the race, my name is Gamehawk. I am the main commentator here for Rush Racing North America EU, and it's a lot of fun. And actually, I will go ahead and say that, like, if you guys are interested in not only joining these drivers in racing, but if you guys are interested in saying, hey, I want to help with commentating, or I want to help with the graphics, or you want to do something with Rush, you guys can go ahead and go into the Twitch description, and we have a Discord link there where you guys can go ahead and join the Rush Racing Discord, and you guys can go ahead and get involved. And we'll be happy to have you. That Rush has been absolutely amazing from my experience. Commentating here has been a lot of fun, and it's been really good racing. And I think that even from week to week, I think that Baku a couple weeks ago was probably the lowest in terms of like the most chaos that we've ever seen in a race. But then we've had Austria and here in Spain, and it's been clean. Like, absolutely no safety cars so far in this race as we're just about to end the race. And I mean, you can't really, not as much chaos, and I mean, that's kind of weird to think about. And so far it looks like a majority of the grid is actually outside of DRS range. And actually, I could see both Project and Vide going to the end on these tires. I do think that Tupini actually pulled off the one stop very well. I mean, he's already 10 seconds ahead, and it doesn't look like he's really slowing down at all. And I mean, he's only 1 second off of his fastest lap, and that's really kind of saying something with older tires. He set that fastest lap when those medium tires were fresh. If he is right off of that, you can say that his pace is not going away anytime soon. And I kind of feel like the drivers who probably aren't doing that well are probably the Haas drivers. With the mediums and hards, I think they could end up getting maybe a few positions, but I think it just kind of depends on when these drivers ahead of them are going to pit, or if they're going to pit. If they do pit, then it's a masterclass for Haas, and they could end up getting a P2 and a P3 here. If they don't, then they got to fight their way tooth and nail all the way up the grid, trying to unseat these drivers who have been defending clean, but fairly hard. And I don't know. I'm really curious to see how the race will end here. And I mean, Tupini has already run away with it. So I mean, already running away with it, and now most of the other drivers still just kind of fighting and jockeying for their last bits of possession positions. Like I said, it has been a very long week, and I'm excited to commentate, and sometimes I don't speak perfect English. We try our best here at Rush Racing. And actually, I will say, I was going ahead and checking this. You gotta give credit to Vega. Vega starting in P17 in last place out of Q3 and all the way up into P13 now. Or sorry, in P4, gaining 13 positions. Absolutely got credit. You got to give credit to Joshua Bear as well. Joshua Bear actually had a 5-place grid penalty, and he's already made that up, and he's made up an extra spot. So he's now in P5. And right now, he is still in P5, and he's trying to hold on to it as the Kick Sauber of Thomas is slowly trying to catch up to him as we are approaching roughly 5 laps to go here. I do believe, oh no, we are good now. The stream took a little bit of a hit, but we're good. I think the new version of OBS is being a little strange, as all new updates are. But don't worry, we are still here. We are not disconnecting, so we are all good here. And actually, I do think that these drivers are going to the end. I actually think that Project and Vide are going to try and go to the end on these tires, but because if they want to pit, they got to pit soon, because Alizzi and Illyrian have been slowly catching up to Thomas and Joshua Bear. If they pit, they could end up going even behind them. But the worst thing that also would happen is a puncture. I would be very curious to see what percentage their tires are at. I can imagine that they are now in kind of tire saving mode, as now we approach 3 laps to go here, lap 31 out of 33. I mean, it's been pure domination by Tupini. I don't think you can stress that enough. Actually, Thomas now is in DRS range, making a run. And actually, is he going to go for the move? It looks like he's thinking about it. And now it looks like he's going to make the move on the outside. But it's not going to happen. And actually, there was a caution in Sector 3. I believe that was, yeah, that was the Gleb, but he'll keep going. That was probably the closest attack that we've seen so far in this race. And I mean, that could have gone a lot worse if the drivers hadn't raced cleanly there. But give credit to the drivers. The drivers have actually done a very good job so far, both last week and this week, of extremely clean drives. So I am actually curious. Thomas does have a lot of battery. Joshua has almost a full battery. So I can imagine that Joshua is going to dump that here to make sure that he's going to be able to hold on as we do start lap 32 of 33. The 2 laps to go, as this is pretty much a lot of places. And now Thomas is catching up to Joshua. This could be his opportunity, going around the outside. Is he gonna hold it? Joshua Bear to the inside. No, there's a contact. There was a little bit of contact between both of them. Joshua Bear still side by side with Thomas, not giving any sort of quarter, any sort of room, and now going to the outside once again. But it doesn't look like he's gonna be able to make it whole. I can imagine the stewards are probably gonna have a fun time looking at that, because it did look like Joshua Bear just kind of forced his way in there with a dive bomb, but it didn't result in any damage, luckily for Thomas. As now it looks like, yes, we are about to start the final lap, as these 2 drivers are still battling. You see the Haas drivers there in the background, as yes, we will start the final lap for Tupini. As you can see, the Haas drivers there as well. And actually now here's the big question. Vide is, so now the Alpines are under threat, as now Vega is slowly catching up to both Alpines. So now we have a 3-way battle here for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th here on the final lap. This could get really interesting as we head to the end of the race. Is there a chance that we could see a podium out of Vega after starting last place? There is a real possibility of it. And now there is a caution sector 1, and now I believe, yeah, that's Thomas. So once again into turn 1, more contact and another collision, and that this time it results with Thomas going completely off. I can imagine Thomas is probably fuming right now, and I can imagine he's probably going to go straight to the stewards. As now we head through sector 2, and now we head to the last DRS zone. This is going to be the last opportunity for Vega with the DRS. Is he going to go for it? No, not enough. But that will win the race for Tupini. 17 seconds ahead as Tupini wins his first Grand Prix, his home race Grand Prix, in fact. And now we'll come down through sector 3 to the front stretch. As now here they come. Is there anything in the tank? As it's Project P2, Vide P3, and Vega P4. Wildcat will also finish the race behind them. Joshua Bear and Illyrian are fighting. Joshua Bear will continue and fight his way into P5. Illyrian P6. Lizzie P7. Actually, no, Lizzie P8. Thomas will reclaim P7 because of that 3-second penalty. Pool Diver will come home in P9. Salty will come home here in P10 for the time being. And he actually will fall to P11. Legleb will go back up into P10. Low Pro will finish here in P12. Actually, no, he'll actually improve up into P11 because of the 10-second penalty. Enzo will go ahead and finish in P13, and then our final driver is Grecos in P14. What a dominating race by Tupini, and then what a close battle to the end of the race. I mean, absolute domination from Tupini, and I mean, absolutely give him credit. I mean, he dominated this Grand Prix from the very get-go, and I mean, there's not much else you can really say. There's not much else that you can really say about it, that it was just pure domination. But you also got to give credit to the two Alpines on opposite sides of him. Alpine as a team, they needed to get back into the constructor standings, and both drivers wanted to get back into the drivers championship as well, and that is exactly what they did. Your race winner is Tupini, and the fastest lap goes to Tupini as well. Vega with the driver of the day. He has the most overtakes, and cleanest driver goes to Pool Diver. And your final stats are right here. Tupini P1, Project P2, Vide P3, Vega P4, Joshua Bear 5, Illyrian 6, Thomas 7th, Elizzy 8th, Pool Diver 9th, Legleb 10th, Low Pro 11th, Salty 12th, Enzo 13th, Grecos 14th, Wildcat 15th, Freed 16th, and Tinzo 17th. I mean, pure domination, and I really don't think you can really say it any other way. Like, he's probably so happy that if this is indeed his home track, then absolutely great job by him to win his yeah, absolutely beautiful job. I don't know if we will have them in for interviews. We do have Vide here. We do have Vide here for the interview. We can see if we can get other people in here as well. I don't know if we will get his teammate. Yeah, we do get his teammate. Alrighty, I do see that you guys, both Alpine drivers, are in here. I don't know if we'll get Tupini in here. I don't think we will. So we will go ahead and start with you, Vide. How are you feeling right now?
I don't know, actually. It's mixed feeling, both stress and happiness, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I can imagine that I was watching the battle to the end, that kind of Vega came out of nowhere and you guys had to basically fight to the end. But I will still say that there was a great job from not only you but your teammate as well, and you guys both finished P2 and P3, and that effectively puts you into the drivers championship and the constructors championship as well. So how does that make you feel? At least
it feels good. It feels like it's finally time to it feels like it's finally turning into our luck for me and my teammate. We never had like a very good result together, and that feels very good that it happens now. I'm very happy to have a teammate like this.
yeah, and I can definitely say that watching you guys were your skill was absolutely on full display from qualifying through to the end of the race. Unfortunately, we do have to make sure that these interviews go through quick because we do have a Division 2 race upcoming. But is there anyone that you would like to give credit to or shout out for the stream?
My teammate, my team, it's a very good job to the league, and you commentators, you're doing a very good job.
Very appreciative of indeed. I really appreciate that. And I think your teammate's going to appreciate it as well. Project, how are you feeling right now?
It's a good feeling. It's a good feeling. I've wanted another podium ever since Baku, and me and Vid have been trying so hard all season to get a big points finish. So it's good we've got one on the board now.
Yeah, and there was a great performance from both of you. Like I said, from the start of qualifying to the end of the race, you guys played really, really well and raced really well. And sort of the same question that I asked Divide, that you are now not only in the Constructors Championship, or like you guys boosted your chances, but even in Drivers Championship, you guys have both improved significantly. How do you feel to be back into the mix?
It's really good. It's really good. I mean, there's a lot of other drivers who are deserving to be up there as well. So it's good to be amongst that fight. And when I messed up in Q3, started P9, I thought that was it. So to come back P2, really good result.
Yeah, absolutely great result. And I felt really bad for both of you. Both of you had a moment in Q3 where Vide could have had a pole lap, and then you didn't get the lap in. So I felt that, but like you said, absolutely fantastic performance for both of you to get into the podium position. And I can't wait to see how you guys do in this second half of the season. Same thing, Divide. Is there anyone that you would like to shout out or give credit to on stream?
Well, obviously Vide. He helped me a lot during the race. I couldn't have got P2 without him helping. And obviously you guys doing the stream, but mainly my girlfriend over here. She comes and watches every race, sits with me, and cheers me on, and that helps a lot.
That sounds absolutely awesome. And if your girlfriend is watching the stream, keep doing that. That is absolutely awesome to hear from a commentating standpoint. But absolutely, I hope to continue to see you guys perform well here in the next races. I can go ahead and let you guys go, and congratulations on P2 and P3.
Cheers, mate.
Yes.
And alrighty, we will go ahead and wrap up for Division 1, and absolute domination from Tupini. We didn't get an interview out of him, but I can imagine that he is probably very happy at the result. We have to go ahead and get ready for Division 2 here upcoming here in roughly 10 minutes time. So don't worry, we're not stopping the stream. We're just going to keep powering on as we go. My throat's probably going to be gone by the end of the next race, but don't worry, it's going to be me hosting with my co-host Wildcat. And don't go anywhere, as Division 2 will be here for another exciting race here in Spain. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.